The healing journey is my term for the process of healing from a chronic disease. Now, everyone's is different in their own unique way, and yet, in my years of working with clients walking this process, there's commonalities that I've observed. In this video, I want to share some of my ideas on the subject with you in the hope that it will help you in your own healing journey. Welcome back to Whole Family Homeopathy. My name is Dr. Andrew Chambers. I'm a naturopathic doctor who uses homeopathy with all of my clients. This is part 6 of my Homeopathy 101 introduction series. This video is going to be a little more big picture, as I'm going to talk about what does the healing journey look like for clients as a whole as they're healing from a chronic disease. So let's dive in. So first, let's get some context. What's the purpose of walking the healing journey? Why are we doing this in the first place? So the most common reason is something I think we're all familiar with, but it's to escape the suffering of the disease. Now, I have examples from my own practice, and you should feel free to add in your own, but I can think of people where they were going through their career and their job as usual, and then developed an autoimmune disease like rheumatoid arthritis, and now the pains in the joints of the hands are so bad that they can't write or type the way they used to, and they're so fatigued they can't contribute on the job like they used to. Or people who come down with something like multiple sclerosis, where there's now such bad brain fog and weakness that they can't do the things that they used to love. Or people dealing with really bad digestive issues like GERD or SIBO or IBS, where they can no longer really enjoy their, fun meal times with friends or family because they're so concerned about all the digestive issues that a simple meal will cause. Or people dealing with anxiety or depression, where their own mind is kind of hampering them from enjoying the life that they once enjoyed. And these examples, they bring us to the second part of the purpose of the healing journey, which is so that we can regain the ability to, in the words of the founder of homeopathy, Samuel Hahnemann, quote, freely employ this living, healthy instrument for the higher purpose of our existence. Now again, every person's higher purpose or passion is going to be unique to them, but some examples from my own time with people is I can think of students who want to go back to school to finish their degree so that they can get in the career field of their choosing, but every time they try to study, they get such bad headaches and brain fog that they can't proceed with the class. Or a person who wants to kind of take their career to the next level or even start their own business, but they just can't muster up the sustained physical and mental energy to succeed in that field. Or I think of people a lot where they want to be the best version of themselves for their partner or their family or their kids or whoever is relying on them, but because of their physical disease, their illness, their pain or their fatigue, or their irritability or kind of mood problems, etc., they're just not showing up in life the way that they kind of know that they really can be. Now, discovering and pursuing this higher purpose of our existence is not directly within the field of homeopathy or really any form of medical therapy. However, what we can do with homeopathy and what our goal is to enable the body to heal so that the obstacles that were once in the way of a person successfully pursuing these goals are removed. Also, sometimes people come to me and they already have a really strong sense of what this passion is or their higher goals are, but they're just not healthy enough to pursue them or succeed in them with the vigor that they once were able to. And it's this that ultimately drives their goals of returning to health in the first place. Other times, a person may be so engulfed in the intensity of their disease or the severity of their disease that they don't even have the mind space or the energy to even think about these questions, right? They're just trying to get through the day to day. It's important to know for the purposes of the right homeopathic remedy restoring health to a person, this actually is irrelevant. It will help the person whether they are in touch with their goals or not in touch with their goals. However, back to the big picture, there's more to life satisfaction, sustained happiness as a whole than just homeopathy, and more than just physical health. But the goal of homeopathy is to provide us with a state of health such that nothing interferes with us discovering these goals for ourselves and pursuing them. Now, of course, if we're working with a child who's dealing with really severe eczema or allergies or social anxiety or temper tantrums or ear infections, etc., well, then we're not really thinking of any of these questions. Our goal is just to restore health to them so that they can get back to living a normal, healthy childhood and prevent the onset of worse diseases in the future. So now that we've laid some of the groundwork for the purpose and the why behind the healing journey, let me talk about some of the biggest myths and misconceptions that I see out there, both in terms of walking the healing journey itself and in terms of what the other side looks like. So 3 of the biggest myths. 1, that we'll never again have to deal with the effects of stress in our lives. 2, that we'll be impervious to illness, that we will never again get a cold or a headache or have a bad day emotionally or just be kind of sluggish or lethargic someday. And then 3, that our life will be perfect or ideal or have no challenges existing in it. Now, the reason that these 3 things are fundamentally myths is because they simply fly in the face of physiology and psychology, and they're just not accurate. As long as we live in this world and are pursuing things important to us and have responsibilities, we're always going to be faced with stressful things. We're always going to have to focus at times on stress management techniques and tools, and we're always going to have to persevere through challenges and setbacks. However, in a healthier state of mind and body, we will be better equipped to do this, and the stresses of life should not have as strong of a negative effect on our health as they might have done if we were in our previous, less healthy state. In the same token, there's no state of health that makes us impervious to headaches or feeling bad for a few days or catching a cold or a sore throat. It just doesn't exist. However, with our overall state of improved health, we shouldn't be as susceptible to catching these things as we were before, and they likely will not have as strong of a negative impact on our health as they might have in the past. In other words, even though they might happen at times, we'll be more likely to bounce back from them fully without any negative longer-term health effects. Now, this brings us to the 4th myth of the healing journey, and probably the most important one out of all of them, which is that the road will be smooth. Now, the reason this is a myth is because the road to healing is not always smooth. Rough patches are inevitable. Sometimes we as homeopaths get the remedy correct the very first time, and the person is just off to the races with healing. But sometimes it takes us a couple attempts to actually get the right remedy for that person. And often a person will end up needing multiple remedies over the course of their time in order for the deepest healing to occur. However, homeopathy is the only system of medicine that has a built-in process for how to navigate these rough patches when they do occur. Now, as I said, we do expect setbacks to occur at times along the healing journey. And in fact, these setbacks are an essential part of what enables me as a homeopath to make the necessary adjustments so that the healing process for a person can continue. The most common way that a setback occurs along the healing journey is that a person has been experiencing improvement in their long-term symptoms month after month for several months in a row, and then all of a sudden the improvement stops, so it plateaus off, or sometimes it actually gets a little bit worse and the person's health seems to be going backwards for a second. Now, when this occurs, it doesn't mean that things aren't working anymore or that a person is doomed to a state of ill health forever. It just means that we have to make an adjustment to the homeopathic remedy. Typically, all that needs to happen is a person needs a new potency of the same homeopathic remedy to stimulate the healing to continue. And other times, a person needs a new homeopathic remedy altogether that is now better indicated for them. Once a person gets back on the new potency of the remedy or on the new right remedy for them, the healing will continue and they will continue to make progress. And this is why consistent follow-ups with your homeopathic practitioner is so important, because it's these consistent follow-ups that enable us to constantly individualize the recommendations to you. And it's also why the idea of a one-size-fits-all protocol or the idea of the perfect protocol is in fact another myth of the healing journey, because thinking, evaluating, making adjustments is an essential part of the healing process at every step. And this is true both from a practitioner's perspective and from a client's perspective. Clients, as they return into a fuller state of health, they are often having a newfound kind of self-awareness about the things in their life that make them feel better and make them feel worse. and they learn to avoid those things that make them feel worse. And this self-awareness is another integral part of the healing journey as a whole. Even though there may be some pit holes or some setbacks along the way, as long as we're making the right adjustments at the right time so that the overall trend is still positive, we know that healing is still occurring. So what are the end goals and end results of the healing journey at its fulfillment? First, to stimulate the person's healing abilities so that no more chronic, long-term, bothersome symptoms remain. Along with this, the person will have a more energetic, robust, and resilient body that will not be as susceptible to environmental stressors causing illnesses like it may have been before. As the overall health improves, the person will also have an increase in mental and emotional health and balance that will better enable them to identify and pursue their important goals in life. And fourth, to achieve this without having to constantly add on more and more supplements or more medications. Although parts of the healing journey can certainly be challenging, ultimately I find that it is not as hard for people as they tend to build it up in their own mind. The four biggest common factors that I've observed in people who have successfully walked this healing journey are the following. 1, they had a very strong motivation to get better. This goes back to what we said at the beginning of the video about the ultimate purpose of walking this in the first place. 2, they kept an open mind about their options and were willing to try new things when the older things stopped working for them. 3, they persevered through the setbacks that I talked about earlier. 4, they experienced gratitude for the improvements in the symptoms and their health that they had experienced so far, rather than being overly focused or kind of pessimistic about all of the journey that they still had to walk. In my experience, really any person can succeed in this if they simply try to muster up these 4 things. So thanks for watching today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and found it informative. If you did, please leave it a like, as that will help it reach more people. And until next time, take care, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.